guys, how is everyone today? It is, it started out that I could not wake up today, and I'll give you that whole story. But within the past 3 minutes, it's been insanity here. So hi everybody. First of all, it is. Let me find my button. Allie gave me a button. Spring forward. So this kind of kicked my butt yesterday, to be quite honest. First of all, I haven't had a chance to pay attention to some of the outside world. Some of it I'm paying attention to and prefer not to. And some things I just haven't really had my mind on. It has not been a priority. So I totally forgot that the whole clock changing thing. And now with technology being the way that it is, and most of these clocks in our phones kind of change automatically, and we don't have to remember. Again, this was yesterday morning. Yesterday I had an open house at noon. And of course, when I woke up, the timing was all different. And I swear, with all of the devices and the technology and the phones and all that stuff around me, the one clock I was looking at yesterday was the one that didn't automatically reset itself. And so I looked up and all of a sudden it hit me. Oh my gosh, it's almost 11 o'clock and I'm supposed to be there at 12 and I was not the least bit ready. So yesterday was a bit chaotic. And it was a really long day. How did you guys do with that, by the way? Do you like it when we lost an hour, right? That's the way it works. Yeah, we lost an hour. But yesterday was chaotic, very, very busy. And then this morning, I could not wake up, partly because, back to this, do you remember the reminder that every time you change your clocks, you're supposed to change something else? Do you guys know what that is? What are you supposed to change? It's a quiz. Fill it in. Give me your answers. What is it that you were supposed to change every time you change your clocks? I'll give you 5 seconds. Anybody answering? Anybody? I know there's a little bit of a delay on this. So good morning, Ben. Good morning, Dina. Good morning, Tracy and Honey Girl. Good morning, everybody. Does anybody know? Whoop, whoop, my phone's ringing. Yes, Kim, you got it. Ding, ding, ding. The fire detectors. You're supposed to change your batteries in your smoke detectors. And that would have come in handy if I'd have done that yesterday, because last night, was it like 2 something in the morning last night, one of our smoke detectors went off. Like, it didn't go beep, beep, beep. It wasn't chirping. It like went off. And so I'm like, oh no, what's going on? So I come out and I run in, and it was one of the smoke detectors here in the family room. And, we're all like trying to figure out what in the world it is. And then they all go off. But there's no fire, there's no nothing going on. So it was one of those things, but your heart's going, right? Your heart's racing. You're like, what's happening? And so that was crazy. And then it reminded me I probably should have changed the batteries, which is on my to-do list for today now, to make sure that I change the batteries in the smoke detectors. Hopefully you guys can do the same. That was part one of the chaos of the morning. But after that, I could not wake up. And like, full disclosure, y'all, I got up and I was too tired to shower. I'm just going to tell you, I got up. Also, when I woke up, it was still dark outside. Normally when I wake up, there's already some daylight. So that was weird. There's some kind of I don't know if it's a bunny. There's something in our backyard that the dogs are obsessed with. So every time we open the door, they like burst through. So I was scared to let them out when it was dark. So my heart's been going like this. I'm exhausted. I literally made coffee and then sat in my bed like this and just like kept my eyes closed. And I was like this for like 30 minutes listening to Andy Griffith. I mean, I remember the show because I watched him all the time. So I didn't have to see it to understand what was going on. But that was my morning. And then great news. I got a phone call from one of my old time builder, site agent colleagues that I've worked with many, many, many times. And I've had some clients that desperately want to build in the community, having a hard time waiting for the lots to be released. There is one that is in permitting and it doesn't have all of the structural options that my clients wanted. And I just got a phone call from the builder this morning saying they got permission to allow my clients to change it. And I will tell you, and Allie is my witness because she was on speakerphone. Caroline said, she said when she went to the builder and the builder was like, what are you doing? Like, why are you asking? She's like, come on, it's for Amy. She's like, we've worked together forever and ever and ever. And it's great clients. And they allowed them to change some structural. So huge win. So excited. That was happening literally as I'm getting ready to push buttons. So my apologies for probably pushing the button a minute or two late. But anyway, how are you? I'm clearly exhausted, and you wouldn't know that by the way I'm talking, but I think it's the coffee. Allie made my coffee this morning. By the way, good morning. This says, got that Monday feeling, and indeed that is true. Not only was my heart going from the smoke detector, and then my heart started going again because of all the excitement. But we also were getting the alerts. Pam and John, a few of you have said you're getting them too because you're out in the Claremont or Mineola, even out in Mascot and Howie in the Hills. We're getting these little tornado warnings. So our phones are blowing up, the TV's blowing up, and everyone's, that's all kind of scary. So anyway, so it's a Monday morning. It's a Monday morning. I won't say it's a great Monday morning, but it's a good Monday morning, I guess. So cheers to you, my friends. I hope you guys had a good weekend. Mine was busy. Partly why I feel like I was a little exhausted. By the way, I just realized because I didn't get a shower this morning, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm still clean. It's not gross or anything. Thankfully, there's no smell-o-vision. But I just realized my hair is behind my ears like when I was in like elementary school. This was Amy in elementary school. So any of you that knew me way back when might remember this from like my kindergarten like yearbook picture. Anyway, all right, guys. So let's see who we've got. I hope I got to everybody. Enchanted Nomads. Hey, you guys, I need you to send me some information. Do you remember when, and I am speaking specifically to my Enchanted Nomads, the insurance that you got on the property because it needed the new roof and you did all that research to find a company that would allow you to do the insurance at that high rate until you got the roof replaced. Could you text me that information, please? I have another client in a very similar situation, and I was talking about you, and I just didn't remember the company that you use. So you guys call me. We'll let one client help another client, all within our Heart and Home Orlando family. Susan says, I love the sunlight that comes at this time of year with the time change, but I'm missing the hour of struggling hard today. I know, Susan, right? Me too. Allie said she was doing the same thing. We're all kind of, even Hong, he's usually, I think he leaves for work at like 5:30 or something like that in the morning. Even today, when I got up, they were still here. So I was like, well, what in the world? Like it's just a slow rolling kind of day. I wish it was a day that I could be lazy, because the weather behind me is definitely that lazy kind of day. So we're going to hope for two things during today's coffee time. The first thing we're going to hope for is that the smoke detectors don't go off again during this, because I don't know if I'll be able to jump up and get it. And if it does, we'll just have to end. So I'll give you that heads up now. Secondly, we're going to hope that the painters that are painting the exterior of my home don't show up today, because that's where they'll be. They'll be right back there in the pool area. So, okay. So how are you? Show me your cups, everybody. Cheers to you. Let's see if anybody, Susan says, your shirt and your eyes today. You're very sweet. I don't know. I don't see what you see. I just see me. I don't know. Maybe it's the color of the shirt reflecting. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, and Enchanted Nomads, thank you for sending that. Rob says, ask Forrest how to install a new cheap USB hot plug speakers on type. Okay. How are you doing, by the way, Rob? Are you doing okay? We want to find out how you're feeling. All right, guys. Well, we are going to get going because I have a lot of real estate to talk to you about. Lots of things happening over this past weeks and weekend. Real life scenarios to share with you, to help educate you, to help you choose the best realtor, buyer, or listing agent for you. Again, I know that a lot of you that are watching are not here in this area, so it's not always a plug for me. Although, sure, if you're here, I'd love to help you. But a lot of times people are watching this and they're not even in Florida. But the information is very good. Obviously, sometimes it needs to be adapted to where you're located, but the heart and the sentiment of it is going to be pretty much universal. So, all right. So I guess let's get going. Let's cross our fingers. I always get nervous right about now. Okay, so our topics this morning: offer regret. Intrigued, are you? Don't go it alone. Right? And then you're not the only one. These are 3 real life situations that happened over this past week. Partly why I am not only physically, but emotionally and mentally completely exhausted. It's phone calls like this morning that I got from Caroline with Taylor Morrison. By the way, Taylor Morrison's a big builder out here. So kudos to Caroline and Taylor Morrison for making some dreams happen for some clients of mine. In fact, some of them usually watch. I'm not going to say who anybody is unless I see them pop up over here. So far, I haven't seen them this morning, but it's all fantastic news, and that kind of gave me a little burst of energy this morning. But I want to make sure we say good morning to Geraint. So good morning, everyone. Bora, Amy, Allie, and Allie nearly got caught out with the time difference. I know. Aren't we going to do away with that at some point in time? I don't know, but it is definitely something confusing. And waking up and going to sleep when either the sun is up or not can be very confusing. And I remember I hated it when my kids would drive to school, when all of my kids were in high school and they had their license in their car and they were driving to school. I absolutely hated it when they left and it was like this, where it was still pitch black dark in the morning. Oh, I just, my heart, I wanted them to be driving in the daylight. But I could also say that when I had my dance studio, each class was about an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on the age group. And obviously the younger kids were earlier in the day. But one of the worst things was when it started to get dark earlier, and I would do my first preschool class of the day, 3:30 to 4:30. And then I'd open the door to let the class out at 4:30 and it's already starting to get dark. And you're like, oh my gosh, because you already feel like it's nighttime. So it definitely, the sunrise, the sunset, what it looks like outside at what time definitely wreaks havoc with your internal time clock. So I am still struggling, but I do have my coffee. And Daryl joined us. So good morning, our dear best friend, my brother, Daryl. And Jen, I don't know if Jen's with you. She's probably busy doing all of her many 50 billion things. But yes, good morning, Daryl. And if you guys, I'm sure you all know Daryl, but Daryl is, I'm not going to do it because I'm going to start crying. Whoo, like that. He was with us all with Eric. So he's our person. He takes care of us. So thank you, Daryl. I'm going to stop now because I'm not crying. This is no more crying time. Okay, no more crying time. Moving on. Okay, offer regret. Okay, so my apologies. So offer regret. What this means is not did you regret submitting an offer. It's not that at all. It's, well, I mean, sometimes people can regret submitting an offer, but the point is, we always go back, and I say this all the time, and this is the best parenting advice. I know I've said it a gazillion times, but it does not matter what situation you are in, what your job title is, what your occupation is, whether you have kids, whether you don't. What are you trying to accomplish? That is always the question you should ask yourself, your colleague, your boss, your employee, your child, your sister, your brother, your mother, your father. What is it that we're trying to accomplish? Because it's not always the same thing for everyone. But, excuse me, if you are submitting an offer and you really want the property, you have to understand. And if you don't understand, because again, you've got your own life, you've got your own skill set, you've got your own experiences, you've got your own, professional avenue that you were exploring. So not everyone knows the intricacies of real estate and offer strategy. That's why you rely on your realtor, right? So real life situation, and this is not a bad thing, it's just a sad thing, and it hurts my heart. So we had a listing that went active on Thursday morning. I always like to put my listings active on Thursday if I can. It doesn't really matter what day of the week, but if I had a preference, that gives us time to get photos done Monday, Tuesday, get the photos back. We can go active Thursday. That gives people time to see the listing go active, make their plans for the weekend, and hopefully have a really good first opening weekend of an active listing. Excuse me. Oh, goodness. And in this case, that was the case. So it went active on Thursday afternoon, lots of showings on Friday, lots of showings scheduled on Saturday and Sunday. And this is my listing. And we received on Saturday morning, kind of early, I would think it was like around 11 o'clock-ish. They saw the property first thing in the morning. They loved it. They submitted an offer, but they only gave us an acceptance period of that day. So a little tidbit real estate wise, typically when you submit an offer, it's usually about 24 hours of an acceptance period. That allows the buyer's agent to submit the offer. the listing agent to receive the offer, to give to the sellers, to have that discussion, to determine whether or not they want to accept, reject, if they want to counter back, if they have multiple offers, what they want to do. So usually 24 hours is the rule. It doesn't mean that you have to wait 24 hours to sign. It just means that you're allowing that other party, that seller, to review and make a decision within 24 hours. So the offer comes in, they only give us that day, so less than 24 hours, only a few hours, candidly. And they came in 10,000 under asking. And we had actually priced it extremely well because that's what I do. I don't want to list in la la land. I'll get into la land, but not in la la land. And in this case, I actually suggested we listed a little bit higher, but the sellers, because for what they were trying to accomplish, they opted to come in a little bit lower with their list price. So the offer comes in 10,000 under that. And meanwhile, we had more showings that day. We got more offers. So another offer came in, and meanwhile, the first offer is and it was an FHA loan. There's nothing wrong with FHA loans, by the way. Absolutely nothing wrong with FHA loans. Nothing wrong, nothing wrong, nothing wrong. But it can be a little bit more challenging because usually there's not as much of a financing wise. Sometimes there's not as much of a proof of funds. Maybe they're financing the vast majority of the property. Again, nothing wrong with that, but it can make a difference. And in this case, the agent just kept saying, well, let us know. Like, we don't want to be in a multiple offer situation. By the way, you have to sign by tonight if you want it. And the problem was they left $10,000 out there in the universe for someone else to come in because they came in low on day one of a big active weekend and under offered by 10,000 and then gave us a stipulation of accepting within a few hours. So that's okay. That is a strategy, but it is not the shut it down strategy. And that's what Eric and I would always call it with our clients. What is it going to take to shut it down? You want the house? Then it's day one. First of all, it's priced really well. Everyone agreed it was priced ridiculously well. So it's priced well. So we don't have any issues there. It's just actively on the market. It just went active on Thursday and it's now Saturday. We have multiple showings. So your offer strategy shouldn't be coming in super low and then asking for a quick decision. That leaves the window open for somebody else to come in and recognize the value of the property. And that's exactly what happened. We got a second offer. That one came in at asking, and the other ones were like, well, we can do that. Just hang on. We'll try to, we'll see if we can get a new pre-approval. Well, at that point, when I talk about offer regret, the point is if you could have done the full asking price, and this is not about me fussing at their realtor because I think their realtor kind of knew that they should have come in higher if they wanted to shut it down. But please understand that in specific areas, and by the way, it's the specific house because you can have two neighbors side by side and one is in la la land and one is super grounded. Truly, like that happens all the time. And so just because your neighbor is priced super high doesn't mean that they're priced correctly, that it's going to sell or appraise for that amount. And maybe you're in the world of reality, and guess what? Your home just got showings and your home just got a contract on it. And now guess what? Your home is going to close, and that other house that was in La La Land might not be super happy, but it just kind of knocks them down a little bit back to reality. And guys, I see that all the time. I have all these houses I'm out here looking at, and I'm like, what are they thinking? Anyway, so offer regret, topic number one. It doesn't mean, did you regret submitting an offer? It means come in with your best offer. If you want the property, what are you trying to accomplish? Discuss with your buyer's agent. And you know what? Have the buyer's agent reach out to the listing agent and say, hey, look, my clients love the property. They saw it. They're first-time home buyers. This is absolutely the perfect home for them. What is it that the seller needs? Maybe that we can make our offer more desirable. What is it going to take to shut it down? Have that conversation. Let your buyer's agent have that conversation with the listing agent. And I actually had told that person, I'm so sorry. They were so disappointed. And I said, I'm so sorry, but I had mentioned earlier, if they had come in at asking, I think the sellers would have signed. This happened just a couple weeks ago, same story. So guys, please, please, please listen to your buyer's agent. Hopefully you have a realtor that's got some experience in this. And again, we all have been there where we haven't had the experience. So I get it. And it's not a bust. There's a lot of amazing people out there. But in order for us to do our job for you, you also have to listen to our advice, I guess is what I'm going to say. Anyway, so I'm going to look and see if there's anything happening over here, because all I can see is all I can see is my stuff going over here. Okay, Daryl says, let's go. She said, good morning, Jen. And then Daryl says, I'm not crying. You're crying. I know. We're not going to cry anymore. Not crying. We're not crying. John and Terry Foster. Woo, woo, woo. Yes. I'm so glad you popped in. Oh my gosh, guys. I was so excited when Caroline called first thing this morning. And literally, as I'm sitting here, I was sitting here going, oh my gosh, I've got coffee time in a minute, but this is more important. So absolutely super duper excited that we were able to make that happen for them. So we'll follow up with you guys later and get it all squared away. Anyway, gosh, that just seriously, those are the things that make my heart so happy. And on the days that I'm so exhausted and I look at my calendar and I look at my emails and I look at my text messages and all of the things that I have to do, that right there is exactly why I do it. Because it's like a huge win for us, really wanting something and it just being slightly out of reach. And boom, we were able to get it. It's like, whoo, I get like just a big high on that. Anyway, okay, let's see. Daryl said, this is the question Amy asked us when she helped us buy our home. We thought we wanted a 4-bedroom, but the 3-bedroom with the huge flex space on a field made more sense for our family. Yeah, so the whole, what are you trying to accomplish? Thank you, Daryl. But yeah, it does. Everybody is different. And so when they purchase their home, I think that, candidly, you probably do get more use out of that flex space upstairs, right? You've got that big bonus room where everybody can hang out as a family or the kids can hang out with their friends. So that space is probably far more utilized than if you'd had that 4th bedroom. And the fact that you guys have that awesome lot with that huge field in front of you, it's like you've got your own soccer field right out front. So anyway, so that's wonderful. Okay, so let's go on to our second brewing topic. I don't remember what it was. Oh, good gracious. Okay, you know what? Here's coffee this morning. I have some Irish cream over there. This scenario, I should probably put some of that in here. So this is real life cuckoo crazy story. Don't go it alone. All right. So you all understand the new rules that we have with, it's a law. It's not a rule. It is a law. And it is all in the United States. It is not just here in Florida. It is absolutely everywhere. Before a realtor can show you a property, you have to have a signed buyer-broker agreement in place. There are some other ways where you can do, I'm just going to be a showing agent for you or whatever the case is, but you have to have that agreement in place with the realtor before they can show you a property. It is something that I can guarantee you the vast majority of realtors are not super excited about. It makes things far more difficult than they need to be. It makes things awkward. Some people don't have a problem with it. Me, I have a problem with it. I don't know if this is why I do well or why I'm not good at it. I don't know which, but I don't like making anyone commit to me until I've proven my worth to them. That's me. Maybe it's a character flaw. I don't know. But at any rate, so true story. So I have a listing here in my own neighborhood, in my community. So neighbors of mine, beautiful home, lovely, lovely home. It also just went active a little over a week ago. And lots of activity, lots of positive feedback. Literally everybody loves the house. It's fantastic. So these people called me from out of state. They called me because I was the listing agent. And I'll try to make this a quicker version of the story because I don't want to bore you. I feel like I bore you every Monday. But they called me because I was listing agent. They called me directly. They said, just saw this pop up. Love this home. We'd love to be able to see it, but we live out of state. Would you be able to show us the property, video or something like that? And I said, absolutely. Are you working with a buyer's agent? No, we just like to go things alone. Like we kind of know what we're doing, and I'm like, okay. I was like, well, in this scenario, I am happy to go and I can FaceTime you. I can do little snippet videos for you, whatever information you need. I can send you the disclosures, tell you all about the listing, tell you what it is that the sellers need, but I would be a transaction broker in that case, and I will see both sides to the finish line because I'm now working then as a buyer agent. You live out of state. You just told me you don't have one. So, great. So all of that happens. Then they come in town. Last minute, they decide to come in town, which is fine. But last minute for me can be tricky because my schedule's usually booked. But that doesn't mean don't call me at the last minute. It just means sometimes I have to move some things around. And in this case, I did. They said, oh, we're just driving in town right now. So we're going to be there. Can we see it on Friday at 9 a.m.? And I said, sure, I will find a way to do that. But before I can show it to you in person, because now we're in person, before it was just virtually. Now that I'm going to show it to you in person, we're taking that next step. I need you to make sure that you sign this buyer broker agreement. And as I explained, it's not going to cost you anything. That commission is already built into my listing agreement with the sellers, but it is a document that I have to have. I legally have to have it. I'm not going to risk losing my license for not having this. And so I sent it to them. And then they decided, well, we don't want to sign it because, we just don't understand because we're really smart. And we've done this before, and we just prefer we think the seller would like it because why would they want to pay a buyer agent 2.5%? Like they'd rather just not do that, I'm sure. And I'm like, well, they're not going to reduce their house by that 2.5% that you're expecting. Anyway, so it was a big weird moment. They didn't want to sign it. And I said, well, if you don't want to sign it, unfortunately, I can't show you the property. And then all of a sudden, they said, well, we would like to keep the appointment with you at 9 a.m. tomorrow, and we'll bring our own buyer's agent. And I was like, you told me multiple times that you don't have a buyer's agent. And then I immediately get a showing request for 9 a.m. from this other agent. So now I'm in this ethical, moral, emotional dilemma because I then call that agent and I'm like, oh my gosh, now they're having the other realtor schedule the showing that I had already scheduled, and I've already got procuring cause at this point. So there is a term, I should have used that as our word of the day, procuring cause. I have already provided them the information. I have provided them the disclosures. I have shown them the property both via video as well as FaceTime. We've already had multiple discussions and conversations and emails and text messages about the property. I have procuring cause. Even though it's my listing, I have procuring cause if they were to decide to move forward on it. So I called the realtor and I was like, I'm not sure if you're aware. Can you tell me if your client's last name is blank? And then I explained the situation. They're like, well, they're just paying me a showing fee. Because I said, I need to see your buyer broker agreement. My sellers have requested a copy of your buyer broker agreement before we can confirm the showing. By the way, this is why the whole thing is stupid, in my opinion. It is just an absolute hot mess, and it requires all of this stuff that nobody has time for. No one has the emotional energy for it. But so he said, well, I don't have a buyer broker agreement with them. I just have a showing agreement. So in other words, they were going to pay this guy to show them the property, and then they were still going to try to work a deal on their own. Remember, I'm the listing agent, and the sellers have enlisted a professional realtor to assist them through the process and list their home. They have zero interest in talking to anyone that does not have realtor representation on the buyer end. They are not going to reduce the price by 2.5%. They don't. What matters more to them is getting to the finish line with someone who understands what they're doing and they have all the legal paperwork done. Everything is compliant and done the right way. And they're not interested in that. And sometimes the whole point of don't go it alone is if you think that you are smart and savvy and you can just do all these transactions on your own. Yes, if you are an attorney, you do have the legal ability to do that on your own. You do. Otherwise, I'm not going to go to a doctor or try to diagnose myself and not go to the doctor. The doctor knows. You know what? Here's the thing. I looked on my wrist and I was like, I think that's a ganglion cyst, but I'm not really sure. It could be anything. So I can try to diagnose it myself, but I'm not going to rely on that to make sure that that's not something that's more worrisome, right? So I'm going to go to the professional who can look at it, even if they concur and go the same way I do and say, yes, it's a ganglion cyst and we need to move this. And yes, there's not an issue with it. It's just a weird thing. Point is, don't go it alone. A seller does not, unless you are doing a for sale by owner in some rural area where there's no HOA and things are vastly different than our market here, most sellers, unless they are doing a for sale by owner, have zero interest in working with you if you are not represented, because that is just a train wreck ready to happen. And a buyer does not want to risk taking their home off the market for someone who just thinks they're smart. That was a big old hot mess. I am happy to say, however, that home was shown by a reputable realtor. Thank you, Chase. And they did submit an offer because they know what they're doing, and the seller gladly accepted, and that home is now under contract. But the point is, do not think that you can do this on your own. Do not think that you not having a buyer agent to represent you is better for you financially or is better for the seller financially, because that is built into the listing agreement. I have only come across one home since this new change has happened, this new law has happened. Only one home, and I mentioned it a few weeks ago, where when I reached out to find out what the buyer agent concession was so that I could show it to my clients, actually, interesting, same clients, and they said the seller was not offering a buyer agent commission, and it was not shown because my clients are like, well, no, that's not the way it's going to work. So anyway, point is, don't go it alone. I know that it can seem appealing. I know that people can get all ramped up and thinking, that's fantastic. Now sellers they don't have to pay a buyer agent. Right. They never had to. It was never a rule that they had to. That's where all of this chaos has gotten distorted. It's just that somebody was mad because they weren't necessarily completely clear on the fact that they didn't have to. But in every one of my listing agreements, mine, I won't speak for the other ones, but in my listing agreements, there is a line, the full commission is X amount. That amount is paid to me, that I then divide, and that percentage is then noted on the listing agreement as well, as to what that buyer agent gets. And I will tell you, in 99.9% of my listing agreements, that buyer agent is making more money off of that than I am. True, honest to God story, because that's who I am, that's how I work, and that buyer agent is important to the process. That's how important they are. I would rather them make more money than me. So with that, I'm going to get off of my little soapbox here. All right, what else is happening over here? Anything I should pay attention to? Melody, she says, Amy, I get it from the processing mortgage loan side of thing. When you fight for a borrower and win, no greater feeling. I know. Oh my gosh. So Melody, I'm going to tell you a little story that I've got going on right now. And it's a little worrisome, and I'm not really sure what we need to do. So maybe you can offer some advice. I'll give you a quick little synopsis of what's going on. I have a first-time home buyer. It's the son of a repeat client of mine trying to purchase his first home. And he is using the down payment assistance program through Orange County. By the way, there are a lot of programs out there for loan. Good gracious. There are a lot of programs out there for down payment assistance and things like that. And so they're savvy, and they're taking full advantage of the fact that they can have some down payment assistance with Orange County. But apparently, only a few banking institutions, I'm guessing it's banking institutions, I don't know if it's lenders in general, but if it's banking institutions that will honor that down payment assistance. And we're having an issue because that particular banking institution, which will not be named because it always is bad. No, ma'am. But sorry, that was Jenny underneath my feet. But we're having issues because of the HOA. They're saying something about an HOA is required to have 10% in reserves to pay for any additional issues that may come up, resurfacing a pool or resodding a green space or something like that. The document, I don't know what it is, but they've got a third-party site out there. There's just a big old rigmarole happening, and we're concerned that his loan is not going to be approved. But other condos are being bought and sold and closing every single day with zero issues. Not everyone that's there is buying cash. So most of these people have loans. So we're just really confused as to why this one on a third-party site has now been pushed back 2 times. So Melody, give me some information on that. Let me know what I'm talking about, because I'm not really sure what I'm talking about. Anyway, okay. All right, let's move on to our topic number 3, which is you're not the only one. Guys, I have had so many great positive ups this past week and some really, really sad downs this week with clients. And in this case, this one hurt a little bit because I always feel like you are my family. When you are, a client, so to speak, you are a friend, you are a family member. And when I work with you, I my heart really does feel that. And in this case, this is a young man also looking to buy his first home, fell in love with this specific home that exists. It's a beautiful home out I can say it then, out in the Ovation area. I got it. I'm waking up. Out in the Ovation area, close to Flamingo Crossings, close to Disney. Fell in love with this home. It's completed. It's ready to it's ready to go, and it's new construction, and just slightly out of reach financially. Like it could happen, but by making it happen, it could affect the quality of life. So back to, what are you trying to accomplish? Do you want to have the house and then maybe have to eat ramen for a year or two? Or do you want to maybe go more comfortably within your budget and then have that quality of life where you can still travel? Do you guys hear Easton? He is just not stopping. He is like so excited to let everyone know that he's here. Is he watching Miss Rachel? He is. He's watching Miss Rachel. Anyway, so just slightly out of reach for him financially. So we're working on everything. We're working on numbers. We're going back and forth with the lender. We're waiting for the lender to call us back with the builder, not a regular lender out there, but the builder's lender. Trying to get these numbers to make sense to him. Trying to find some different loan structures. We entertain this 2-1 buy down. All of these different things to see what we can do to make it more comfortable for him to move forward on it. We've explored other options. We've looked at townhouses in other areas. We've with other builders and other communities, and he kept coming back to this one because it felt in his heart like it was home. And meanwhile, days are ticking by, days are ticking by, days are ticking by. So do you think that home has just got a big bubble on it and that it's like erased and that it's invisible and that nobody else knows it exists? No. So other people are also walking through this home. There's not just one site agent at the home that we're working with. There's multiple in that community that are also able to sell that exact same quick move in. And that's kind of what happened was, it's like we're thinking, and I don't ever want to rush people. And I say this all the time, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I will not rush you, but I will let you know when time is of the essence. And time is of the essence sometimes. It's like, okay, do your due diligence. Make sure that you can actually afford it. Nobody wants to rush into something that they can't afford that they'll regret later. But you also then have to be very intent with your actions and try to secure it if that's what you want, because it's still in the rotation of homes for other people. And I kid you not, when we finally got to the point where there was a loan structure that was going to be a little bit more comfortable, we were able to work out some of those details. He's ready to move forward on it. And guess what? It had just gone under contract the night before. And talk about devastating news, like devastating news, very, very frustrating. Because it was the only unit. There wasn't another one like it. There won't be another one like it for a while. And even if there is, the price is going to be higher. So if this one was already almost out of reach, the next one surely will be. So it's just a story in, you are not the only one. And what that means is you're not the only one looking at that home. I don't remember the exact wording of this little phrase, but I remember it was behind a desk at one of the builders years and years and years and years ago. And it was the first time I'd ever seen it. And now I'll give you the intent of the saying. It's not the exact words, but it's basically the home that you are looking at today and will be thinking about tomorrow is the same home that somebody else saw 2 days ago, thought about yesterday, and purchased today. So you just have to remember that, just because you've seen a home and you've expressed interest means zip, nada, nothing. It means yay, great for you. You found a home that you like, but from the builder's perspective, unless they are desperate, they are not going to reserve that for you. They're not going to put a pin in it and hold it for you. Not unless you are actively making forward steps. And what are those forward steps, by the way? Those forward steps are obviously clear communication, which we had, by the way. We had clear communication. I was communicating constantly. He wants this house. We're doing everything we can to move forward on it. Just trying to explore some other options. Can you please have the lender give him a call back? We want to go over this. What about this loan structure? We're working together. But the intent then is to actually start that loan application. Now, this is another thing that could have helped in this situation. And this is another tip for all of you. And it's back to the same old tired conversation of get pre-approved. Have a pre-approval. If you are not pre-approved and you start looking and then you fall in love, you're going to potentially be disappointed. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I don't like anyone to be disappointed. I don't like you to stub your toe. I don't like you to get a paper cut. I definitely don't want you to be disappointed and not be able to get or afford the home of your dreams. That is number one why we say get your pre-approval, so that we know what the bank says they are willing to loan you. What are they willing to provide to you to give us that figure so that we can look within that realm of your comfort zone. And that is vitally important, because if we'd have had that in advance, we may not have been focused solely on that property. We might have known that it was going to be a stretch and out of the comfort zone and affect the quality of life. And therefore, what he was trying to accomplish might not have been accomplished with that particular property. And we could have focused on others that were going to satisfy those needs and check off those boxes. Now, that pre-approval that we could have had from a different lender, we could have gone into the builder and said, hey, we're already pre-approved for X amount. Here's the pre-approval. Yes, of course, we're going to do the pre-approval process through the preferred lender, but we're coming into this already showing you that we are vetted, qualified, and capable of moving forward on this property. That would have also gone a long way in this period of time that we were going back and forth. And remember, the reason we were going back and forth is because it was just out of reach. So, lesson, remember, you're not the only one looking at a property. Understand that. And if you want it, what are you trying to accomplish? If it's something you want, then you need to make every definitive, intentional step to secure the property or to make yourself better prepared and in a position to actually contract on something. Because even in that scenario, even we didn't end up looking at resales, but we could have looked at resales, but we couldn't because we didn't have a pre-approval. And and there's no sense doing your pre-approval with a builder unless you are definitively decided on one builder. It's not going to be a great advantage to get pre-approved over here if you're not fully committed to that builder or that model or that house or that floor plan. Because that builder, their lender, ABC Builder is not going to, if you get a pre-approval with ABC Builder, they're not going to finance CDE Builder over here if you decide to switch and go to the builder across the street. That's not the way that works. So having a general, what we call an outside lender from new construction purposes, but a regular lender that can help you with new construction and they can help you with resale, having that piece of paper lets me know, and more importantly, what it is that you can afford comfortably in your budget so that you can accomplish what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Okay. La. Amy speaks a lot. Okay. Jay, going back to our previous topic, I'll never understand trying a DIY on a real estate. Oh, what happened? I clicked it again. On a DIY, on a real estate transaction that will possibly be the most money you'll ever spend. Make it make sense. Thank you, Jay. I love you. That is exactly it. We're not talking about going to a thrift store and trying to barter or haggle with someone over a $5, $10, $20 item. We're talking probably the largest, most expensive purchase you will ever make in your life. And you want to try to do it alone because you're smart. There's a lot of smart people out there. That doesn't mean, in fact, the smart people are the ones who recognize where their intelligence lies and what they are and are not capable of doing themselves. That's just cuckoo if you ask me. And I know I don't speak for everyone, but I speak for a very, very, very many people. If the home is listed by a real estate agent, that seller is indicating to you clearly that they respect the process. And that is, they're not looking for somebody who's going to come in unrepresented. And by the way, I have this thing where I don't know. There's clearly something wrong with me. I look sometimes at my commissions and I'm like, wow, gosh, that's a lot of money sometimes. And that's not like a braggy thing. That's just, I always look at it from the other side. Always, always, always. And then I have to be reminded, and Eric was really good at reminding me of this. And now I have to be both of us, right? I have to have his brain over here. Maybe he's over here reminding me because I still hear it. He's like, when you think about what your commission is on the purchase, it's only 2.5 or 3%. That's not a large percentage. It's just that the product that we sell is more expensive. So I have to remind myself of that all the time, guys, all the time. I remind myself, yeah, that might look like a really big number on that closing statement. And I sometimes have a little icky with, I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's so nice. That's so generous, Um, but I work really hard for my money. I've got market knowledge. I am a professional. I am an honest person. I did a lot of training to get myself here. This is more than a full-time job for me. It's not like I'll sell a home here and there part-time and I don't know what I'm doing. So I come with a lot of information and expertise. I have to remind myself of that. Eric's talking to me right now. But when you look at it on the grand scale of things, a seller looking at hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, a $500,000 home, when they're going to help provide a commission or a concession to someone that's 2.5%, 3%, in the grand scheme of things, that is a very low percentage. So I have to remind myself of that. I don't know why I went off on that little tangent, but I did, and it feels good. Okay, got it out there in the open. All right, so good morning. Let's see. Ernie, you popped in. Good morning, Ernie. Amy popped in. Good morning, Amy. Yep, Pam says that doesn't seem so smart to me. LOL, I believe it. Elizabeth is popping in late. Good morning. How's Miss Elsie Mae this morning? And then Fanny, good morning, late but here. I'm so glad you guys all popped in. All right, so I think I hit my topics. Did I get them? Offer, regret. It doesn't mean regretting your offer. It means don't regret submitting an offer and then going, oh gosh, I really wish I'd have come in higher. Ooh, I wish I'd have added that escalatory addendum. Or ooh, I wish I had just made it a little bit stronger if I want them to sign today. Pay attention, be intentional, take the advice and the guidance. Take the advice and the guidance of your real estate professional to help secure that property if it's what you're trying to accomplish. Don't go it alone. For goodness sake, people, have a realtor list your property and have a buyer agent represent you if you're trying to buy one. It is not that hard, folks. Just do it. And you're not the only one is really just the reminder that whatever it is that you are looking at, you are not the only one looking at it. So if it's a home that feels like home to you in your heart of hearts and it's something that you want, then make sure that you understand and be intentional with your forward motions to try to secure that property so that you don't become heartbroken like my client. Because sometimes, it just guts me when I don't like anyone to be disappointed. So I take it way too personally. Anyway, all right. So let's see. Let's move on. I've got other things to share with you, which is going to be the crazy amount of listings. Okay, blah. I just took a sip of my coffee, which is now ice cold, not a cold coffee fan. And so now we're on to the cold caffeine because cold caffeine I can do. All right, so guys, we have listings bonanza. We've got even more. I've got even more coming on the market this week. One is going active tomorrow. There is another one that is going to be going active the week after that. It's just cuckoo crazy. So this is a representation of the activity within the market. If you are looking to buy, if you are looking to sell, this is the time. This is kind of a very busy time. The current inventory doesn't mean that every home is going to go under contract just like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying a lot of people are starting to put their homes on the market because it's the right time to do so because the people that are looking to buy are out doing it. So that foot traffic is there. So we have this beautiful Alcott one-story over in Silverleaf. This is a beautiful Meritage home. There is green space beside it, and it looks out to a pond. It is 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, plus a flex space, little under 2,100 square feet. Absolutely amazing. Beautiful home, tile roof. It's gorgeous. We have the Davenport home. This one is a Davenport home with a pool, and there's a balcony off of the primary bedroom upstairs that looks down to that pool. It's gorgeous. This home is in a gated community. It is also zoned short-term rental. Does not mean that everyone that lives there is using it as an investment property. So it is a great spot that you can utilize either as your primary residence, maybe it's your own private vacation home, or maybe you do want to use it as an investment property. But this is a great home, brand new roof, brand new paint on the interior, and brand new carpet in the home. That is a great one. That one actually is going active tomorrow. So legally, I can go ahead and announce that today because it's within 24 hours. Our rules in Florida are different. Those of you that live out of state and in other areas, sometimes you might see listings that say coming soon. Maybe you get like 2 weeks that it just sits there coming soon, and they're building up all of the excitement and the energy. We get 24 hours here in Florida, but I'm within that time frame, so I can go ahead and advertise it. Mineola. Guys, this is the one that went active on Thursday and went pending on Saturday. This is the one on our first brewing topic, number 1, which is don't regret your offer. This one went on the market, went under contract, boom, boom. The Groveland Villa, we have that one under contract. Still have that the Davenport Townhome. Another one, guys, this is another example of there is just no rhyme or reason sometimes. This one has been on the market for a very long time. It is in a short-term rental area. However, the homeowners do not use it as a short-term rental. It's their primary residence. Also in a gated community, great location, priced very, very well. Just happens to be that at the moment, in the past few months, there hasn't been anybody that was looking for that exact property in that area. But hopefully things will change as we are starting to get busy. Springtime, weather's great. Gosh, it was hot yesterday. Groveland 1-story. This one is, again, a beautiful floor plan, really nice home, beautiful on the interior. We've had quite a few showings over the weekend for this one, so hoping to hear some good news. And we have another page. We have, this one is already under contract. I think this one may have had last week for you, but there's a Tory over in Waterley under contract. We have another one, Hawksmoor. This is the one here in my neighborhood. This is the one that went under contract. This is the one where originally the people that did not have buyer representation thought they could get it on their own. They missed out, but it is under contract now. We have another beautiful, large 1-story floor plan, Ashby floor plan, which is one of my favorites from Pulte. Big, beautiful, very similar, honestly, to my house in the sense that you have this big, huge island that looks out to some family room area and then looks out through those big sliders out to the lanai and the greens and the backyard. So beautiful, beautiful home. It is in a gated community, and it is actually gated within a gated. So it is in an estates section at Lakeview Preserve, which is in Winter Garden. Technically, it's in Winter Garden. And then we have in the bottom right-hand corner, this one also in the community of Hawksmoor is under contract. That one actually should be closing on the 20th of this month. We are approaching closing day. So that's exciting. So there's a lot going on. And by the way, you know, like I said, we have one coming on the market in a community called Kindred in Kissimmee. I have always referred to the community of Kindred like the Kissimmee version of Waterley. So for those of you that know where we are, know what I'm talking about, or have been with me long enough that you know how much I love the community of Waterley, this is the Kissimmee version of it. Same builder, D.R. Horton, but they have larger home sites out there. And I have a Robinson floor plan coming up. I know you don't know what the Robinson is, but I will tell you it's a beautiful, big 1-story floor plan, 3-car garage, gorgeous view out the back. Very excited about that one. That one will be coming on the market pretty soon. And then what else do I have coming up? Another big 2-story. Honestly, there's a lot coming up. So point is, it is a busy time. It's a busy time for me. It's a busy time for you. It's a busy time for builders. It's a busy time for sellers and for buyers. So if you're looking to buy or to sell, it's a really good time to get that party started. We don't want to wait too much later because as the summer comes into full swing, a lot of people are starting to wind down their home search, believe it or not. So anyway, so interesting there. And let's go ahead and go to our wishes so we can say hello to all of our people. Okay, so we have lots of wishes today. We have Brenda and Dennis times 2. What that means is that we got their existing home under contract and they're under contract to buy their new one. Super excited for them. Makes my heart so happy that we are able to simultaneously get them closed on their existing home and then close immediately on their new construction home, which is all ready for them, ready and waiting. So by the end of this month, they will they'll be in their new home. And gosh, that just makes me so happy. Omar and Samara, same thing, my friends. We got their home under contract. They're the ones out in Mineola. Got their home under contract in 2 days, I guess. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 2 days. And they are building a new home and they are officially under contract for that one. Susan, Sarah, and Doug, I have to tell you about this story, but I'll save it for next week. I am so excited that I love you guys so much. And those of you that have been clients of mine, in this case, Susan, Sarah, and Doug, the son purchased a home with me years and years ago. Then I helped his mom and dad purchase their home. And now they're selling that home. Daughter is selling their home, and they're purchasing a home together. And we were able to snag. It was absolutely, talk about planets aligning, timing being perfect. It just gives me the chilly bumps how excited I am that everything worked out, and they are officially contracted on a new home for them, a multi-gen home, by the way, multi-generational living, so that mom and dad can be there with daughter and everyone can be happy and connected and close to each other, but still have private living space, which is so important. As I'm getting older and I'm thinking about things like this, we still exist. We don't need to be put away in a little bedroom. So it's nice that they're going to have their own like apartment that's attached to a house. It's beautiful. And then Jean and Lynette, super excited that they're getting to where they're going now. Very excited to have that listing back again. Okay. So let me see. What else do we have? I've got a few things. I talked a lot today. I can't believe it's already almost 10 o'clock. So let me give you, my cup is full. My cup is full. So this is Allie and I will say Allie because Alyssa was the one that did this. Since Eric passed, video production was always our thing, right? Lots and lots and lots of videos. Obviously, we do our live stream here on Mondays, but the Sunday drives, which those won't happen. But the home tours, it was difficult to get back into that, to be completely honest. That's a very difficult thing for me to do on many, many, many levels. But we're back, thanks to my amazing, talented daughter. She was out. We did our first video. We did it of this beautiful one story that we just talked about earlier, the Alcott over in Silverleaf Reserve here in Horizon West. And so we did it. We did our first video. Was it perfect? No. Are they ever perfect? No. Do I want to be perfect? Absolutely not. That is not what we are or who we are. We are human beings. And yeah, I want the video and the quality of it to be very good. And it was very good. We were missing one mic piece that we couldn't find, to be honest. But as is life, remember, Allie has a 10-month-old. So for us to try to get out there and get that video done, in and of itself was a miracle. And so I'm very, very grateful to her for getting the video done, for getting it posted for us. Clinks and clunks and all, I'm happy that we were able to get back out there and to get that done. And thank you for being patient with us. And thank you, by the way, I cannot tell you the number of people that texted me or commented, oh my gosh, it's so great, so happy you're doing this again. We missed you. We appreciate you. The information you provide for the community is blah, 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 blah. It made my heart so happy to see that, to feel that support, I guess I should say, just to feel that support. And I know it seems like it's a very silly thing. It's what I do. It's part of my job. But it was a hard one to get back into. So I appreciate you guys being patient and most of all supportive and complimentary. I do appreciate that very much. Okay. A couple other things. Word.
Oh, now come on, Amy, tell me what's the word.
All right, this is an easy one, very easy one. Wet signature. What do you think that means, everybody? Wet signature. We'll wait again, see if you can pop in. Give me the answer. All right, a wet signature is obviously a signature with you and a pen where you are writing your signature. Wet signature means you have signed that document. Any loan, like when you go to closing, you are always going to be required to use blue ink. By the way, blue ink when you sign those legal documents. And a wet signature is where you literally have to sign it with a pen, usually in front of that closing agent, the notary, or whomever it is that's going to be handling that closing. However, if you do have if you are paying cash, there is no financing. So your closing documents here, the way we work things here, if you are purchasing cash, you are actually able to sign all of your closing documents via electronic signature and not wet signature. But as a reminder, what color does it have to be? Blue. It has to be blue. All right, last thing, and then we're going to go because I'm so excited to share this with you. What is it? There's the button. Okay. All right. I just finished the last episode last night. If you have not watched this, please do. Oh my gosh. I love Kate Hudson. I think she's amazing. But that's kind of why I was drawn to it but it is so good. It's called Running Point. It's about a dysfunctional family that owns a basketball team. And by some crazy situations that happen, she finds herself as the president of the league or of the team rather. And just things just kind of ensue. And it's really good. It's a really good one. And I believe they did say, as I watched the last episode last night, that it has been renewed for another season. So I think it was 10 episodes. It's on Netflix. So if you need something fun to watch, I think this will make everyone happy, whether you are a sports enthusiast and whether you like a little bit of a rom-com, whatever it is, I think you'll really like this. So if you haven't watched it yet, I think it's high on my list of ones that I'm looking forward to the next season. So, all right, guys, with that, it is now 10:02. So I'm going to go ahead and scoot out. I got some appointments today. It's kind of a dreary day today. It's kind of overcast. It's raining earlier. But we still got work to do. So we're going to make it our own little, bright sunshiny day, even if the clouds don't want to agree. So, all right, guys, with that, please remember how much we appreciate you. Please stay safe, stay well. Remember, we love you. And my goodness, I am just so grateful to each and every single one of you, whether you comment here or whether you don't because you can't, you don't know how to, whether you're watching it here with us live or whether you're watching it later, tomorrow, tonight, 5 weeks from now. Just know how much my heart really does appreciate each and every one of you. All right, guys, please stay safe, stay well. Remember, we love you, and happy house hunting.